Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2 and Football Manager 2019. Today we have got two quite big games for you actually. We've got Hyde United, who are currently the most informed side in the league, so that's going to be a really tough game. And then we've got a local derby against Gainsborough Trinity, who are really poor this season. So it could go both of two ways, I've got to say, today's episode. It could go really well and we could win both games, or it could go really badly and we lose both games, including a local derby, or what I think is most likely to happen, we lose to Hyde quite badly, but then go on and beat Gainsborough quite goodly. What word do I use instead? What's the opposite of badly? Just good. That must be a record. Less than a minute into the episode and I'm already talking absolute rubbish. Anyway, let's move on from that. Since you were last here, we have played 6 games, and actually considering who we've played, we've done really well. We've had a tactical change in half of the games actually. We're going to play a different tactic for the Gainsborough game, the normal one for the Hyde United game, but we'll talk about that more later on, which actually we'll talk about now, because Radcliffe, we played a 4-3-3. We've decided to go for a 4-3-3. After the last episode against Curzon Ashton with the draw and the Spennymoor loss, I thought we really need to try and incorporate all the strikers. We need to get quite an attacking formation that's going to create opportunities for us, not to just have shots, but be able to try and pick up rebounds on shots, because a lot of the time the keeper saves it and we don't get the rebound sort of thing. So we're going to a 4-4-3, 4 at the back, 3 central midfielders and 3 strikers. And that's what we did in the game against Radcliffe, and we only just won 1-0. So, I mean, obviously, we're bedding in still, but it was at least a slightly improved performance and a win against a team that we should have beaten. So I was glad that we got the 3 points, despite only scoring 1 goal. We stuck with it for the Kidsgrove game, and again, a 2-1 win this time, so slightly more improvement in that performance. Max Brown and Javan Splat getting on the score sheet, but Declan Brown on a 6.3 kind of sums up his performances since we've changed tactic, and since last episode really, he's not played particularly well. But again, very important to get those 3 points to these two clubs that are quite far down the table. We needed that. The 4 games afterwards, we've drawn 3, lost 1, which on the surface looks quite bad, but when you consider where these teams are in the table, really good. The only downside to this is that we haven't scored in these 4 games. Now, we played the 4-3-3 against Frickley, and we got lucky not to lose that, really. Frickley were much better. They dominated us. They were 7th in the table at the time. They had a man sent off, and after that, it sort of quietened down. But we were very lucky. You can see from some of these ratings that defence played very well. Calderwood man of the match with a 7.2 rating. Next up was Witton Albion. I think they were 4th in the table when we played them, and we decided to go back to our 4-5-1 formation for this one with the defensive midfielder in place. We lost it 1-0, and that was probably the correct result. Witton Albion much better than us. Higher in the table at the time. I think they're still higher than us in the table right now, and they're doing quite well. So, justified in losing that. I think we didn't play our best in that game. We stuck with the same formation for the game against Buxton, who are top of the table, and got a draw. I was expecting to lose this one, but we played very well. Again, defensive performances were very good. You can see Duncan Ardholm on the 7.4, Calderwood on a 7.0. Some good performances. We got a draw there. That was important. That was really good. And then last time out against Altrincham, who were sitting 3rd at the time in the table, another 0-0 draw. And again, another really solid performance from the defence. Strikers letting us down just a little bit, I've got to say. Obviously, these past 4 games, only one of them played with the 4-3-3. But with the 4-3-3, we've only scored 3 goals, which I'd expect to score more from, if I'm honest with you, having 3 strikers up there. We won't play against Hyde because they are the most informed side in the league at the moment. Currently 3rd in the table as well. We need to be slightly more defensive in that regard. But against Gainsborough, sitting down in 19th, we're going to go all out with the 4-3-3. What it means for the table is that we sit 9th at the moment, but only 3 points behind 5th place Ossett United and 5 points behind Altrincham. So it's actually still pretty close. Between 5th and 12th, there's only 5 points in it, which is crazy when you think about it, especially at this getting to the late stage of the season. We had a brief moment in the playoffs after we beat Kidsgrove and Radcliffe, but of course, after those draws and the 1 loss, we have dropped out of it just a little bit, but hopefully today we'll get ourselves back in there. So for this first game against Hyde United, we're sticking with the tactic that we've been using most of this season, the 4-5-1 formation, or the 4-1-4-1, whatever you want to call it. In goal then, Calderwood has played very well in recent games. I'm very impressed with him, with a backline of Camwell, Gray, Narty and Bredis. The usual midfield of Hughes, Masters and Howell start there. They've been playing quite well together recently as well. Hughes, again, still doing really well this season. Max Brown goes onto the left because when we have played with wingers, and I want to try and keep him match fit for the 4-3-3, he can play there quite well as, where is he down in Luke Holmes? So I think it's probably justified in playing him there. It may not be the most comfortable. Luke Holmes may be more comfortable, but in terms of star rating and things like that, they're both pretty similar and things like that. Jamie Bird starts on the right because he's really good on the right-hand side of the pitch. And Splat is still starting up front on the grounds that he is slightly more informed than Declan Bacon, who hasn't been playing particularly well recently. And when I say recently, I do mean all season. When we signed him, I thought he was going to be cracking. Last season, in the season over league below, 19 goals. This season, it was 3-2 for Oxford United. Signed for us, has got 1 goal in 19 appearances. 14 starts, 5 off the bench. It really isn't great at all. So I'm quite annoyed about that. But I suppose not all signings work, do they? Right then, kickoff is upon us. We're away from home today, so it's going to be quite tricky playing at Hyde United Stadium. I meant to show you what their form was. They've won 4 of the last 5, I know that for sure. And they've rocketed themselves up the table. Because I think at the end of last episode, they were below us or around us. But I think they were below us. So they've done very well. Now, the positive of playing 4 sides who are around or there or thereabouts at this stage of the season is that towards the end of the season, we're not going to play them. They've all got to play each other again still. So we've come out of that relatively unscathed, picked up a few decent points. If we can push on now, grab a few wins against the teams lower down the table that we should be beating, I think come the end of the season, we should be there or thereabouts of playoffs, definitely. Buxton and Boston, I think, are way too far for anyone to sort of catch them up now. Hyde, maybe, if they go on a good run, but I think most teams are too far behind them now. It'll be between them who's going to win the title. Boston are on a run of good form, but Buxton actually not so much at the moment. They were ahead by a lot more points as we've just lost possession. Hyde United coming forward. Great save from Calderwood and the rebound going wide of the mark instead. So that was a bit of a let-off. I'm not sure how the playoff system works for this division either, because this division below, of course, like every division across that sort of a step, it was step 8, I think. Yeah, step 8 that we were in last season. In the playoff system, every division in step 8 went in to play playoffs against each other. So you could have a team, I don't know, based in Carlisle playing a team in Exeter, I think essentially how it would work at that kind of level. I think the same thing happens with these playoffs maybe, but I'm not too sure. If it is, then it means we won't have to play any of the teams, or we might play them, but we most likely won't have to, as Tom Platt scores a very good goal for Hyde there. Theoretically, every team from this division who gets in the playoffs could go up, I think. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Anyway, there's no point talking about it because we need to get there first, and we're not going to do it by losing to Hyde. As I said, they are the most informed team in the division at the moment, so I'm not expecting us to do... Well, I don't know, we've played very well in the previous few games, but a lot of the teams that we've played, like Buxton, were a bit out of form when we played them and things like that. Splat could have made it 1-1 there. That was a great opportunity for us, but hasn't quite made it. Howell on the ball now, puts it into Hughes. Great ball up to Splat, who's in behind the defence and has somehow put it wide. And that is 2 massive opportunities now. He's been 1-on-1 with the keeper and absolutely bottled it. Brown's header saved by the goalkeeper as well. Really, I'm not going to lie to you. Had Splats been better, we would be 2-1 up in this game. Especially because 15 finishing at like any level is really good. But especially at this level, that is fantastic. Like, that was the main reason I wanted to sign him, sort of thing. He's not quite got the pace, although saying that, he's got behind the defence. Again, 3rd time goes unlucky. Javan Splat is... I mean, that was a difficult opportunity. That was the most difficult. But the other 2, he should have scored. The corner cleared by the first man, and that's probably going to be the highlights. Let's encourage them out there. Splat's down a 6.2 right now, which I don't think is... I think he deserves better than that, if I'm honest with you. But at the same time, he's missed 3 big opportunities. It's now time, I think, to put Brown up front. As an advance forward, we're going to bring Declan Bacon on the left-hand side as well. Let's give him a run out as an inside forward. I've just realised we actually make the perfect sandwich. We make the perfect sandwich because we've got bacon, all right? And we've got brown sauce and we've got Bredis at right back. Okay, he's involved. He's not the striker, but he's involved in this somehow. As Masters puts it just wide, we really should have scored some goals in this game. We've gone desperately unlucky, I've got to say. But hear me out. Bredis, it's got bread in his name. He's the bread. We've got bacon. You put your bacon on the bread. You get your brown sauce, and when you squirt your brown sauce onto the bacon, it goes splat. You've got the perfect sandwich here at Lincoln United. What we don't have, though, is the perfect result today. Despite us playing, I think, really, really well, we've had 2 clear-cut chances that we've missed. Bacon could have made it there. We've had 4 really good chances, 3 squandered by Splats, and that one right at the end there. I think we should have won this game. We've been desperately unlucky, I think. That was a good game, though, I've got to say. Hyde, I didn't expect to win it. I thought Hyde might beat us by more, but actually I'm quite pleased with that performance, I've got to say. And that brings an end to the run of 5 games against 5 teams that are probably, in all likelihood, going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. Now, we've not won any of them, but we've not lost any of them by a big margin, so we're about on their level. We've drawn with a few of them as well, so maybe not quite as good, but we're on a very, very similar level at least, which gives me confidence to think we've got past those 5 teams now. The rest of the season, there's 1 or 2 teams that are going to be decent in there, but a lot of them are going to be further down the table. I think good results in those games will be playoffs at the end of the season. Now that I've said that, watch us get relegated. Guarantee it. I'm just more excited about this bacon sandwich that we've got. I mean, Bredis won't be here next season, so it's only going to be for the rest of the season. But, I mean, there must be some good players out there called Bread who might want to sign for us. Like, I don't know, Jack Breed. No, that's not Bread, is it? We'll scout him out anyway, because he could be all right. We want Bread, though. We want Bread. That's the ideal thing right now. None of these players are actually called Bread, like, or BRD. No A. Any just BRDs? No. Which is, it's just Bredis. Just Bredis. That's it, apparently. I refuse to believe there's no players out there without Bread in their name. I just think that has to be impossible. That has to be impossible. There has to be a player out there, or multiple players out there with the not even the BREAD, just the sound Bread in their name, like Bredis. If you know one, leave a comment down below, because we'll try and sign them, alright? We'll try and sign them. Brings you on to a question, actually. Do you think Football Manager is easy or not? Because, hear me out, it comes from a comment, actually, from last week, on one of last week's videos, and they said, I think you'll be in the Football League within 5 to 6 seasons from now. And it got me thinking, like, a team like Lincoln United, 5 to 6 seasons' time, that'll be, call it 10 seasons in total in non-league before we get to Football League, okay? Real life, Lincoln United, unless, I don't know, a billionaire comes in, does a Salford-style thing with ownership, Lincoln United are never, ever, ever going to be in the Football League. They just won't be there. So, of course, if you left Football Manager running for 100 years simulated, they'd never get there. But when you're in control, you get there. Like, we'll get there with Lincoln United. I promise you, we will get there. And do you think, then, Football Manager is an easy game to play? Because I've been playing it for an awful long time, like years and years and years and years. So, like, I'm at the point where I kind of know how to get, you get, obviously, it's not easy. You need the tactics, you need the algorithm and things to all go well for you, whatever it does in game. But making the right signings, putting in a decent tactic, and putting players in the right position sort of thing. There's like the fundamental parts, and obviously behind that scouting players, blah, blah, blah. But once you've got a certain amount of knowledge about how the game works, do you think it's easy? Because we will get to the Football League with Lincoln United, but in reality that should never happen. But it happens in games. So, do you think Football Manager is easy? That's my question. What do you think? Or do you find it really hard? Is this like, would getting Lincoln United to the Football League be really difficult for you? Let me know in the comment section, because this is quite an interesting discussion I think we should probably have. Alright, so I've just made the changes to the lineup then. It turned out to be quite a few. I started talking about it and then was umming and ahhing for a bit and then realised that was not entertaining at all. So, this is the lineup that we're going to go for. Calderwood in goal with a backline of Canwell, Gray, Idahan and Bredis. Masters, Howell and Porter come into that central midfield. If we use this next season, we're going to have to get some more central midfielders in the squad. Also, maybe an extra striker or two. But up front, we've got the sandwich, nearly, because Bredis is back here. But we've got the bacon sandwich of Bacon, Brown and Splat. We're playing vertical tiki-taka. I'm not sure if that's actually the best tactical style to play with this. But I did a little bit of research online, and someone said that they've had a wide 4-3-3. So Bacon would be there and Splat would be there in attacking midfield positions. That a wide one, vertical tiki-taka, works quite well. I've just moved the strikers in a little bit. So I think vertical tiki-taka might work a little bit. Maybe. We'll see. We don't know. Let's give it a go against Gainsborough today. Let's get on with it. Right then, kickoff is upon us. A local derby today against Gainsborough. Hopefully that will be reflected in the crowd. When we played against Boston, we had nearly 600 people at the home game, which is great. However, 400 of them came from Boston. So our home fans were outnumbered 2-1, which was a little bit worrying. And Gainsborough have just hit the post a minute into today's game. That's also worrying. A lot of teams we've seen this season have the high press, but Gainsborough nowhere near us. We have so much time and space with the ball to just work it up the field. Bacon now into Masters, Masters into Porter, Porter back to... Like, no one's challenging us. We're just doing things that we want to do. Splat gets in behind the defence, puts the cross into Brown, who makes it 1-0 within 4 minutes. And hopefully today, with Max Brown's 8th of the season, we might see him get to 10. Temporarily puts us up to 8th if we win today's game as things stand right now, which only puts us 4 points behind Hyde United then. So, although we've dropped, arguably quite a few points in the last 5 games, the next 5 games, we can make it all up with wins as Bacon's been put in behind the defence, gets past the defence and scores a goal. His 6th of the season technically, because he scored 1 or 2 in the cup rather than the league and things like that. But that's his 2nd league goal of the season for us. He scored 2 actually at Hyde United before he joined us. That's fantastic to see Bacon get on the score sheet because he's not done it for so long. Gainsborough coming forward on the half-hour mark, trying to get themselves back in this game. If we score another one, that's surely them done and out of the game. So they need to get back to that 1-goal deficit at least, and they have done. I mean, I was trying to hope that it was reverse psychology there, talking about it, but they actually have done it, which is... it's not ideal, really, but it's a highlight straight from kickoff. Can we bring back that 2-goal lead straight away? Bredis on the ball back to Duncan Idahan into Howell. The Bacon sandwich is looking like it might combine once again with Bredis starting off the move. Masters currently on the ball now into Camwell. He can get it out wide because there was room. Can't get out wide, but Brown gets the header. And it is actually cleared now by Gainsborough. Now, if they come on the counter-attack and score, I'll be very worried. But the ball forward wasn't great. Gray now collects the ball, plays it into Howell. And again, Gainsborough just stepping off us, not really offering much. The ball in behind into Splat. He looks to score, but unfortunately, actually it was offside in the end, but doesn't get it in the back of the net. It'd be great to see all 3 strikers score today, I've got to say, as the free kick's taken very quickly, actually, I've got to say. And we win possession back straight away. And the ball forward, not quite working out there. And out wide, Gainsborough trying to exploit a bit of lack of width that we do have with this formation. We're very strong centrally, of course. Lack a little bit of width, but if we can score plenty of goals down the middle, that's fine. Although the cross comes in to the back post. 2-2. Okay, Tom, let's... Well, the fantastic start we've had has been ruined as Gainsborough have clawed their way back into this game all of a sudden, which was not part of the script at all. And it looks like they could be going for a third now. Cross, I thought that was in the back of the net. That was a superb save from Calderwood. Not sure if he meant that shot or not, that player, but it was a good one. The issue that you'll find out in the second half is that this formation, what a goal from Duncan Idahan, by the way. What a free kick that was, putting us back in front right at the start of the second half. That was a cracker. Like, that was superb. What I was trying to say before that was, what you'll see in the second half when we try to make substitutes is, because of this formation, the 4-3-3, if we want to stick with the 4-3-3 the whole game, it really doesn't give us many opportunities to make substitutes. Throw in for us, and we actually managed to throw it to our own player this time. Usually with throw-ins, like, it's 50-50 if it goes to your player or not, but Bacon puts it into Brown, and part of the Bacon sandwich is combining there to make it 4-2. That was fantastic. Bacon playing well today. I love to see that. Splat actually is the one that's not played particularly well. I reckon we take him off and we give Connor Robinson a go out there because he hasn't had much of a look in all season, unfortunately. We'll swap him and Bacon around there. Let's give Bacon a chance as a poacher. Joe Howell and Lee Masters both looking a little bit tired out there. So McQuaid's going to come on for Howell, but we're going to leave Masters on because I don't have that much faith in either Adam Hughes. Actually, Adam Hughes can kind of play there. He's not too bad as a ball midfielder. Okay, that could be disastrous. With 2 goals up, it should be fine. They're the 3 substitutes to make. Let's see the game out now. Another chance for us again. Camwell, another chance to put a cross in. Looking for a hat-trick for Bacon. Not going to happen just yet, but McQuaid wins the ball back, plays it back to Calderwood. And we've got a chance to reset and distribute. Calderwood coming quite far forward there. A little bit risky as nearly gets tackled there. Calderwood finally gets rid of it, actually. Gainsborough, for the first time, actually trying to press and put it under pressure. Gray clears. Another chance, but it only goes as far as Hyam for Gainsborough. McKay on the ball, back to Hyam, who can put the cross in. There's 3 waiting in the middle, and at the back post, it does get put in the back of the net, which is going to lead to a rather scary and tense final few minutes of the game. Just watching the 4 minutes of added time, a referee, I think you're having a joke. Where has that come from? I think This formation, at least today, it's shown we can score quite a few goals. But right now, with a minute to go or 2 minutes to go and Gainsborough coming forward, it may indicate that we concede quite a few goals as well, which is very, very poor. There's 3 waiting in the middle again. You hate to see that, don't you? You hate to see that. Well, offensively, we were really, really good. Defensively, well, different story, I've got to say. Different story out there. That was a game we needed to win, really, and a game that we should have won. I'll put it down to being a local derby, and the players would be hyped up for it, but defensively, that was not good enough at all. Maybe should have gone to a more defensive formation when we were winning 4-2. But who am I to think that we're going to concede 2 goals late on? It's my fault, obviously. I know that, but it is annoying when it happens, even though it's quite obvious as a viewer, you watching, playing 4-3-3 on attacking. So technically 6 games without a win, but technically not that bad considering the teams we've played. Next episode, we are going to do Stalybridge Celtic and Hyde United, teams that are going to be up there. So that's going to be a tough episode. In between that, though, we've got Pontefract who are bottom of the table, Warrington who are 1 above bottom of the table, Ashton who are 9th, so they could be decent, Shepstead down in 16th, and Workington down in 18th. We should win 4 out of those 5 games, I think. And I'll be cross if we don't win 4 out of those 5 games. So it's going to be a real test. We're going to go for the 4-3-3 in most of those games, I think. Hopefully we'll score plenty of goals, but as Gainsborough Trinity game might suggest, we could concede quite a few as well. Right then, well, thank you very much for watching today's episode. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you do drop a like on the video for me. And let me know in the comment section what you think about the new tactics and stuff. If you're new around here, make sure you do subscribe with the notification bell turned on. And I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco action.